And that brings us to our second series of today, Gallon versus Nalguidan. Be a matchup of classes available, as both these players have very similar decks across the board. Gallon versus Nalguidan also is a fated rivalry in Grandmasters, considering that for a season and a half or so, Gallon was watching Nalguidan's plays and his interviews and decided one day to call him out, saying that you're complaining too much relative to the quality of play that you're showing. He actually just straight up said, like, I think that you don't really, you don't have the right to complain about like your draws and whatnot with those kinds of plays. And so it was kind of a controversial topic. And then Gallon played Nalguidan and lost, and Nalguidan got the win. Since then, I think they've smoothed things over, and I think they've talked about it and even joke about it now. But that was a fun few weeks in GM last year.
Yeah, it was. And Nalguidan actually like turned his season around from that point as well.
Right. It was almost like Gallon lit a fire under him.
It was, yeah. Nalguidan eventually, clawed his way out from the bottom of the standings and had a good second half of the season. So we'll see. But yeah, it looks like mirrored decks on both sides, but the different in their choices for like overall archetypes. And the big differences are the charge zoo compared to the just kind of normal zoo. Nalguidan has the charge variation, whereas Gallon has just kind of the early curve with Evil Genius, counter that ebb and lock, that kind of thing. And they're rogue as well, whereas Gallon has chosen the Highlander rogue, and Nalguidan is playing the stealth Galakron rogue. So
right, what we just watched.
Yeah, and also in their Demon Hunter, where Nalguidan is playing the heavier version with the Raging Fellscreamer Priest of Fury, and Gallon's playing the faster version with more one-drops, Beaming Sidekick, and Frozen Shadow Weaver. So I feel like Gallon has all the same lists, all the same classes, but a slightly upgraded version for the mirror matchup in every slot. So if he gets mirror matchups in all three games, he's I think favored. But Nalguidan's decks are better against some of the other decks. Like his Charge Zoo is better against Demon Hunter and better against Rogue. His own Rogue is better against Demon Hunter and Warlock. So it's a weird dynamic, honestly.
It is, and I think that you might want to give Gallon the edge, but I think that he also might be vulnerable to the more aggressive versions of classes like the Stealth Rogue and whatnot. So I will withhold my judgment and just kind of wait and see, because I think that the previous series is not representative or indicative of the strength of the lineup overall. I think Emperor definitely had a couple of awkward draws, especially that Rogue game where he just kept not having stuff and having to play lackeys. But that's something that I feel like Rogue is running into right now. Almost making me question whether or not we're playing too many invokes and not enough quality cards. Simply like we're relying too heavily on Galakron. And it's reminiscent of when people played Miracle Rogue, and sometimes their hand would be 2 preps and like an Eviscerate and and that's it, like a Conceal. That's like all they had. They were just waiting for the Auctioneer, and I feel like that kind of strategy is not nearly as reliable as it would be if you just played a straight up mid-range rogue like Highlander.
No, that's fair. I mean, maybe we're going to see the day where you don't play any invokes whatsoever. Or Galakron. No. And yeah, you just play like the old school with like Evil Miscreants and Highspur Togwaggle.
True.
I don't know.
And again,
maybe there's not enough lackeys there. Who knows? Yeah,
what I was trying to say is that it's like all dependent on how the lineup is of your opponents and how the metagame is evolving. And I'm not saying it's bad to do those things. I'm saying that perhaps it's time for those Galakron rogues to adapt and play less weaker cards in order to get and reduce their amount of synergy with Galakron. Because I think that's what the Highlander rogue is teaching me, that you don't need to play like a fully invoked Galakron for you to still like hang in there and have very good, reasonable plays. Maybe just fill out your deck with better stuff to do.
Yeah, no, it's fair. Fair. Oh, we get to see it in action right off the bat. Gallon with the Demon Hunter, and Nalguidan playing his Rogue.
Hey, I got you, friend.
A little bit of a slow start.
Yeah, Beamy Sidekick, not super impressive, but he's got a curve. Umbra Wing into the Satyr Overseer. Nalguidan's hand does have some potential explosiveness through the High Spear and Togwaggle, the Lackeys, and the Galakron, but he's definitely going to need a couple of draws to make it better. In the meantime,
Demons.
I mean, Gallon's got a pretty reasonable curve. I think the one thing that to consider is how he uses Altruist, and I don't think he will use Altruist on curve.
Most likely not.
He's got really good options as well, because Satyr Overseer allows him to summon a 2/2 next turn, and then he can save that weapon swing for the Gladebound Adept.
Yeah, the 4-mana play is kind of the weird one, right? Because
I wonder.
if he wants to save his Umberwing swing for Gladebound Adept, it means he's not attacking on 4. He attacks on 3 with the Satyr Overseer and then holds on 4, which if he doesn't pick up like a playable card, or if he picks up something like a Chaos Strike, then he's incentivized to attack.
Choose soon.
Well, that's a decent play for 4.
Yeah. I wonder still if it's actually better to play the Frozen Shadow Weaver now. So that way, because if you play Satyr Overseer and attack, and then next turn you don't attack, I think you might be telegraphing a little bit too heavily what your hand is. Not to mention you're kind of like do the same thing, except your I guess front-loading power does make a lot of sense for the Rogue. However, I think also another reason is because if you anticipate your opponent to have Seal Fate, it's better that the Frozen Shadow Eater gets the Seal Fate so you can keep your Overseer alive.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
So I think for all of those reasons above, I would lean towards the Shadow Weaver. However, Satyr Overseer, like we said, is the most power, the most tempo. And you get to swing immediately and kill the Evil Miscreant, so you can stop Witchy Lackey, for example.
Is it cold in the shadows?
Nicely done.
Plus, you get to push damage.
Yeah. And not have to worry about this Evil Miscreant eating up some of these 1/1s.
Right. Nalguidan has to use Seal Fate. It's just the most logical thing. Gallon, of course, really happy with his own read. And now the Satyr Overseer, in his mind... Oh, interesting.
Oh!
So Altruist with the slices, does that change anything? I don't feel like it does. You know your opponent's holding 3 lackeys. So that makes me believe that if they go for a lackey board, Altruist is better into that as opposed to the current situation.
Yeah.
His weakness.
And, very clearly we're going to use this weapon somehow and the hero power. So 2 damage goes into this Miscreant. So then I assume that we're just going to bump the Steaming Sidekick.
Yeah, which means that you'd want to use 1 copy of Twin Slice, or just push everything to face. And not care whether or not these 1/1s get traded off by Evil Miscreant going to the next turn.
What I like about removing the Miscreant is that it stops lackeys from interacting with it.
Yeah.
But you know what? Gallon wants his opponent to do that because he has cards like Altruist ready to go.
Yeah. And that might be the key. And also because he's planning on playing Gleipot Adept in almost all cases next turn. Altruist
Right.
will be on the far left, which means Twin Slice will be guaranteed to have both the far left outcast effect regardless, because it'll slide over.
Yeah, and this way he gets to keep his Twin Slice. Wow, interesting, very interesting.
It's a bummer
Gul'dan.
that he didn't draw it next turn.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. True. You're not wrong, DJ. What if he just draws the second one?
Okay, sure, yeah.
Why do you dream so low? Why do you aim so low, TJ?
I know, right?
On the wings of evil.
I mean, there may be a chance that if he doesn't pick up something that's really good next turn to play, that he just plays Skull anyway, because his deck is relatively low curve. He's likely to hit things that are playable with Altruist anyway. Because his board's getting picked apart right now. And Nalguidan's still at 19 after the swing. So he's still healthy. What's the pickup here? It is a Sightless Watcher. Okay.
Okay, now another question would be: is it worth playing Skull Gul'dan just on curve here? I know that you would lose out on the Outcast benefit, but
Demons.
it might just be worth playing Altruist
Demons.
and pushing the damage, because you get both Twin Slices and the
that's true.
Sightless Watcher, so that's 3. You'd be pushing 5
Okay.
damage and presenting a 4-2 and a 3-2. Then you follow that up with Skull next turn, and you can pick something with your Sightless Watcher that can be played with Skull no matter what, like a 1-drop.
Okay, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah,
I can buy that.
What must be done?
Yeah, Sightless Watcher should theoretically help you organize things.
Yeah, like Crimson Silver
There
Runner.
you have it. Well, okay.
Because you can play Crimson Sigil Runner and then Skull.
Well, you could play Skull either way. So it's like what I was thinking was like if you're gonna guarantee the Skull's on the far outside, what's the most damage?
Oh.
And
Oh, I was just saying he wants something that he can guaranteed play after he plays the Skull.
right. Which I think most time you should have a playable card, but yeah. No, I like it.
Like a guaranteed play on top of what you could play with the Skull.
Yeah.
Which is Sigil
So
Runner.
many options.
Well, now you're not gonna just flick here. I kind of was thinking Evasive Worm, but I think because Evasive Worm gets challenged by the Sightless Watcher, it has 3 health, but obviously get destroyed. Gallon can play Sigil Runner here first before the Skull Gul'dan, like you mentioned, so that way he has a guaranteed board presence. But he also could just play Skull Gul'dan as well, and then play Sigil Runner at the end. I don't know if one card drawn here would change his play, would it?
Maybe
Oh,
Warglaves.
Metamorphosis. Yeah, Warglaves, Metamorphosis. Metamorphosis 100% would change the play.
I think Warglaves would too, because you're pushing 7 damage.
Right.
And have a 3-2 and a 1-2 on board.
Poor Warlock.
Does any draws change his play? Interesting. Now I-Beam actually becomes 0 mana, so
You can play Spectral
funny
Sight.
funny little interaction there. He actually needs to play I-Beam before he plays the Spectral Sight.
Yep.
Because the way it works is I-Beam goes from 3 to 0, but when it's outcast, it's forced to cost 1. Yikes. And now if you're Nalguidan, are you forced to play the Galakron? How long until like Galakron Warlock, Galakron Rogue just plays like Wild Pyromancer? This is so many times I've seen like rogues just kind of struggle to deal with wide boards, and I don't think Fan Knives would be good enough. But at the same time, they're so limited with their AOE options. I don't even think Wild Panzer would be great in the deck. I think it actually would be bad, but it just kind of shows you the state of which Galacron Rogue can't deal with these boards.
That's why I like Highlander Rogue. Because Zephyrs can be all of those things.
Warglaives.
That
Is
is
that lethal?
Yeah.
Yes, that is lethal.
All
And
right.
the Demon Hunter gets the win over the Rogue. Rogue struggles continue. That's 4 L's in a row, TJ, for this Galacron Stealth Rogue. And I know what this deck is capable of, but boy, is it disappointing to see it underperform so much.
Yeah. I do think that Gallon did play that game excellently, though. I think that was like near perfect execution of the resources that he was given, and that's what you like to see. And he also, Gallon, loves to pat himself on the back when he makes when he plays perfect games. As you can see, when he had the read that Seal Fate was there and made the plan for the Satyr Overseer on 4 and Gleipbound Adept on 5, he was dancing to himself like, "Yep, I'm good at Hearthstone." And
Yep.
I think he wins that game anyway, but there's a world where that play is what wins him the game. So nicely done.
All right. Well, we're going to take a break and find out if Nalguidan can reverse the woes of Rogue. If not, the struggles will continue. So don't go anywhere. More Hearthstone Grandmasters action continues when we return.
Hearthstone Grandmasters is brought to you by T-Mobile, helping you stay connected to what matters most. Learn about T-Mobile's COVID-19 response on T-Mobile.com.
If I would have to describe myself in 3 words, that would be...
I can be really...
If I had to describe myself in 3 words, that would be cringy, persistent, and thoughtful.
Try hard, shy, and patient.
Try hard, patient, and motivate.
I would say I'm very joyful, happy, awkward.
I am overambitious. I can be really angry at some point, sometimes, and I'm a clown.
Kind, competitive, and calm.
Calm, smart, and sleepy.
Methodical, thoughtful, and British.
3 words? So I will describe myself as an Hearthstone player.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Hearthstone Grandmasters for the Americas. As you're just tuning in right now, we are in the middle of a series between Nalguidan and Gallon, a matchup between two rivals in Americas, one from Argentina, one from the USA. And we will be getting into game number 2 shortly here after Gallon was able to get the Demon Hunter win with a pretty consistent curve, but also like just really good pressure and understanding what he needs to do to make Rogue uncomfortable. And it feels like Rogue is so good of a class at twisting the knife and really making sure their opponents are uncomfortable. And yet it feels like they're on the receiving end so far this entire broadcast day, even going to Asia Pacific and Europe when I watch Rogue play.
Yeah, honestly, it feels like Highlander Rogue's performing better, which is weird. In a bizarre way, the deck that only runs one copies of things is more consistent, or is doing more consistent things. Maybe for the reasons you mentioned earlier, Dan, because they're cutting invokes and they're running just more powerful cards. And we're going to put that theory to the test right now, because Gallon is actually playing a Highlander Rogue, and he's playing it against a Demon Hunter, which is one of the matchups we've seen the Rogue struggle with today. So Nalguidan is playing a little bit of a different version himself with the Demon Hunter. He's playing the little bit heavier version, less 1-drops, the Raging Fell Screamer, and Priestess of Fury. So packs a little bit more punch. I believe he's also playing 1 Skull of Gul'dan. Let me double check. No, he's playing 2. Empatizado was only playing 1 Skull of Gul'dan. He's playing 1 Glavebound Adept. Okay. So when you play the Raging Fell Screamer Priestess of Fury, you kind of have to cut one of the other more expensive cards. Some players choose Glavebound Adept, some players choose Skull, some players even choose Warglaves. But you often have quite heavy hands, which I feel goes against the core of Demon Hunter, which is all about tempo and having consistent early game plays. So this list from Nalguidan, it did take a win earlier for Empanizado, but it lived on a knife edge, and he kind of relied on his Priestess of Fury, 1, coming down on 5, and 2, also sniping some high-priority minions. So I'm still not sold on this version in the current metagame, but I'm waiting for Nalguidan to prove me wrong. Same with the Zoo Warlock, the Charge Zoo Warlock.
Well, Nalguidan has the fate in his own hands on how aggressive he wants to be right now. That Crimson Cinder Runner introduces the opportunity for Nalguidan to do a few different things. He could, 1, obviously just play the Cinder Runner right now. That's probably, in my opinion, the weakest play, because it just kind of floats that mana and forces you to use the coin. He could Sightless Watcher and then play the Crystal Runner, which is also particularly intriguing to me. He's going to go for this play instead, and I think he... So I think that Nalguidan, in his mind, is saying that the Umbra Wing wasn't good enough to just play on curve here, which is kind of surprising to me, because I thought Umbra Wing was also still a really good candidate to be played as well. So like you drive maximum board presence against the Rogue.
Yeah.
I have trained for days.
Maybe he just doesn't like the rest of his hand. I don't know. He did have like Sightless Watcher to follow it up with. Not sure.
Exactly. Oh, okay. So now the exact same scenario, but now he has an extra mana crystal.
Yeah. Overconfident Orc is so annoying for this deck, because they want to efficiently trade in like these 1-attack minions, but he can't because these 1-health minions, but he can't because even with Overconfident Orc's downside, which it gets reduced to 1 attack if it's damaged, it's difficult for him to just get through this.
Very much so. So Nalguidan gets to draw that card with the Crimson Cinder Runner number 2. And, again, taking the second to really think about if he wants to. Did he pick the Frenzied Fellwing? Did not. He picked the Saver Overseer.
So he's going for Warglaves into Satyr Overseer, most likely, as his curve. Coin Warglaves next turn, Satyr Overseer the following turn to try and make a big board.
Yeah, and Nalguidan willingly given up his Sightless Watcher because he knows that's a clean kill from the Warglaves.
Yeah, if
Right.
Gallon were to
if
trade.
Gallon does that. Gallon could also do a fancy play. You like fancy plays, TJ? He can go for like Shadow Step and Evil Miscreant, replay a full health overconfident orc.
Oh, wow.
I wonder.
He also could just use Eviscerate as a 2 damage or 2 mana deal 2 damage thing. Okay. Well, this ended up working out great. He can clear the board, actually. But once more, it would kind of be a heavy investment of resources. The reason why I don't like the Shadow Step Miscreant play because it does kind of invest a lot of resources for not super high amount of gain. So this is to give him a guaranteed combo and activator next turn. I think he's anticipating like potential Warglaze, Warglaze to be a possibility, but also the Adept.
Demons?
Twin Size here actually a decent pickup because it does allow him to hold on to 1 extra charge of his Warglaze and push 1.
I mean, you can also just quit Warglaze and not do anything.
You could, yeah. No, that's very true.
And then you are like the saddest panda the moment Zephyrus comes down.
Yeah.
Destroys the weapon. So, no High Spear Togwoggle.
Surprisingly, the best play against the Satyr Overseer right now is to dagger up. Because he has the answer with Kobold Lackey plus Flick. And by not playing any more minions, he only gives, or not even needing Flick, he could just not give Nalguidan more things to attack into, so he doesn't spawn as many things with Satyr Overseer.
So many options.
So like a dagger up pass, honestly, if you expect Satyr Overseer, just seems like the play. Now, we could see that Satyr Overseer is the play, but let's say it's Gladebound Adept.
Choose soon.
Granted, there's only one, and you'd want to play things to have stuff on the board to
So
contest it.
many options.
Interesting turn. Very interesting turn. Knowing Gallon, he's going to dagger up and pass. Oh, did he play Evil Miscreant? Non-comboed Evil Miscreant. Alright, that works too. Based on his next few turns, Evil Miscreant just doesn't seem like it's going to get comboed. So.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, and Gown wants Nalguidan to commit more to a Satyr Overseer, so he gives him more like 4 health minions to attack.
Yeah.
Nalguidan's not going to get baited.
He is going to get baited.
Oh, he is going to get baited.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Well, I mean,
for some reason, I thought the Satyr Overseer wasn't playable this turn, but discount it just enough.
His weakness.
Although this extra 4/4 does help a lot.
It does, yeah. And if that's the case, I wonder if Flick's even the play this turn. Now
Okay, so if you Flick and Kobold Lackey, you're left with just a 4/4. The Raging Fellscream. Yeah. If you Kobold Lackey and Faceless Corruptor, you are left with quite frankly, you're just kind of losing the board. At least this gives you a slight opportunity to fight back on the board. Also, Faceless Corruptor is still good the following turn.
Yeah. Most likely.
Mm-hmm. Oh, gosh. The second Twin Slice draw is not what Nalguidan needs. He has nothing proactive outside this Umberwing to play. Cool thing, though, is that he gets to use the interaction that he gets with the Warglaze of Aznath to attack again after he kills this Flick.
Yeah.
So the way Warglaves of Aznath work is that if you attack a minion with your hero, you get to attack again. Nice sequencing.
Yep. That effect still works even after the Warglaves has used its last ability, because when you made the attack, Warglaves of Aznath was equipped, so it stays until your hero attack. Galakrond has only been invoked once by the Sealed Fate.
Yeah, and this is scary for Galen because I think he is a soft read that Nalguidan has a Priestess of Fury in hand. And he does not. But it's still the right play, even if there is no Priestess Fury, because now he's ahead on board. Now Nalguidan grab some tempo. But he's still floating a lot of mana crystals.
Demons.
Is it cold in the shadows?
So no Priestess of Fury. Galen's happy to see that. Sees an High Beam.
Seems like his big plan here is just to try and get to Dragon Queen Alexstrasza safely, but Galakrond is really his only play. Oh, okay.
Dragon's Horde. Surprise me.
Guru
the Might Tree.
Okay.
How about an Ancient of War?
Now we're talking.
And his Treants have +1/+1.
Nice. So then if he picks up a Clever Disguise later and a couple Forest Aids, he's cooking.
Oh gosh, Nalguidan really needs a skull.
Yeah.
Or some kind of card draw, Spectral Sight. He can kill this Guru. Expensive kill, though.
Yeah, it really is.
Takes like 2.5 cards to kill it.
Well, if he does, maybe it opens up an opportunity for him to draw Priest of Fury next turn with Raging Fell Screamer. Maybe if Galen has a dead turn, be able to push for lethal.
Right.
But Galen definitely does not have a dead turn.
And now Dragon Queen Alexstrasza can come down. This is relatively safe. Oh, Malygos and Waxydread. Very solid dragons.
Yeah, they're just big.
And Nalguidan has 6 damage, 7 damage. Even if he gets Metamorphosis, it wouldn't be enough. And he's staring at 15, 19, 20 damage on the following turn.
If he gets
down attacks, you get to 20. You can get him down 22.
If he draws Priest of Fury and all 6 go face.
Yo.
Yo!
Oh!
Priest of Fury
Right,
would
finally.
be playable for 3.
Warlock.
Finally. Ugh. Okay. Yeah. He can do this. But if Galen draws any damage, he already played an Eviscerate, but if he finds Zephyrus, that's game.
Also, can he get through the 5 health from Galakrond, which would negate one of the Metamorphosis?
Impatient.
This turn, he would have 9 damage. Next turn, he would have 8. That's 17. He'd be 1 off through the Galakrond healing.
Demons.
Yeah. Also, is there a case to be made that you shouldn't play this Battle Mage in case you draw Altruist?
I think so. What is the Battle Mage honestly going to do?
Just like stalling for time, like you hope that he trades into it?
Yeah.
Oh, he's getting the damage in while he can, so Shield of Galakrond doesn't stop him.
Oh, he's just going to play both. But if Galen plays Galakrond here and doesn't kill him, and Nalguidan draws Altruist next turn,
right? Oh, he'd be so sad. He'd be so sad.
Yeah. Still some draws for lethal, though.
Yep. Kronks.
Kronks.
Zephyrus.
That Kronks!
Oh! There it is. Yeah. And that is going to do it. The Rogue gets the win. Highlander Rogue once again kind of showing that it doesn't need the full invocation. Thumbs up from Gallon. 2-0 lead.
Yeah, because he was definitely not out of the woods there if he does not pick up lethal. Obviously, he could pick up another taunt in the form of like... actually, no. Does he have another taunt in the deck? I'm actually not sure. Bone Wraith.
Does Gallon does?
Yeah, he had Bone Wraith to be able to pick
Bone
up.
Wraith.
Siamat.
Yeah.
So, but Nalguidan had draws for lethal. Anything that dealt an additional point of damage, even though he didn't hold on to the Blazing Battle Mages for Altruist to being out for lethal, he had Chaos Strike, Glavebound Adept would have worked, Second Warglaves would have worked, Priestess of Fury might have worked because the discount was still there from the Raging Fell Screamer that was on the board. So he would have been able to metamorph Priestess of Fury and Hero Power to have maximum odds. So there were a lot of lethal outs. Kane Sun Fury would have also worked. So
okay, yeah. So there were several ways for Nalguidan to get there. You just needed an extra draw, and of course, like you said, if he had an opportunity to draw into those things, he had a lot of outs. So very important win for Gallon. And Rogue, once again, it's the Highlander Rogue able to escape, not the normal Galarcon Rogue. So then Gallon left with just his Warlock, Zoo Warlock. And I'm ready to see the Zoo Warlock finally get up and running, right? Because Zoo Warlock today did get the wins, highlighted by Board Control's comeback against Silvername.
Yeah,
he was able to get like a 6-minute win.
Yeah,
it was super quick.
Soulfire to finish off the game. Gallon's not playing the Charge Zoo, and the non-Charge Zoo is actually in America's been having success the past couple of days. It's the Charge Zoo that hasn't won a game. But Gallon won the first game that he played on the Zoo Warlock yesterday, I believe. And if you give me 3 games with Zoo Warlock to hit Scrap Imp Hand of Gul'dan, I'm winning 100% of the time. Oh, wow. Look at that. Scrap Imp Hand of Gul'dan.
Not bad.
He also has Serpent Evil Genius, though.
Yeah, I think you mulligan those away, though, because if you find the Expired Merchant, what on earth?
All right. If he picks up...
Is that actually good, though?
If he picks up something to get rid of his...
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how Gallon 3-0'd Nalguidan. I mean, the coin scrap imp was bad enough, right? In the sense that that's really hard to get back from. But you add the Expired Merchant too. Get out of here. He discards the Hand of Gul'dan. He's going to draw 3 cards. He finds Magic Carpet.
How greedy does he want to be? That's the question.
Well, what I like about the Expired Merchant is actually contesting the board.
Yeah, and also if he does an Expired Merchant this turn, his Scrap Imp will go off next turn before he draws the additional cards.
Exactly.
So this is just the right play to make. He still has to be worried about just dying, but like at this point it feels like he just needs 1 turn of minion sticking and he's good to go.
Right, and so, Nalguidan, he's just trying to maximize his screen time here. Perhaps we might be writing off the Demon Hunter a little bit too much. Zoo Warlock is taking quite the beating. And Gallon, right now, there's a lot of power being presented on board. There's 10 damage showing, and it's not exactly smooth sailing.
So many possibilities.
Yeah, he might have to use Evil Genius to Scrap Imp to try and dig for a Lackey.
Yeah, exactly. Those aren't like the most amazing lackeys, to be honest. Gallon looking to see if he can fight back here. I think Faceless Lackey also is worth considering, but it's most stats if he just plays a 1-drop.
Yeah.
That got buffed by the Scrap Imp.
Yeah.
You know, maybe we called this one too early, TJ. Who knows?
Oh, Nalguidan, I think, needed to capitalize on this turn, but I mean, the capitalization comes in the form of damage. You can clear off both of these minions with relative ease. Still push 7. And has Gleipon Adam next turn.
Yeah, this is still a little tight. Oh boy. Sunfear Projector does not have the Battle Cry activate. This is 4 damage on board, 4 from the hand. That's 8, putting Zoo down to 7. Is that enough? Nalguidan, you need to find Metamorphosis.
He's gonna kill the magic carpet.
And I think Gallon, like, wants that to
Yeah, he definitely wants that to happen.
because he's confident that he has the ability to come back over time. Nightshade Matron is actually going to discard and make him overdraw. But perhaps he's okay with that.
Yeah, he actually doesn't have a way to deal with the Gleipon Adept. You can put a Shield Bearer in the way.
Right, he's going to draw 3 cards. Oh, I miscounted. He actually did have hand space. Look at that. And now Nalguidan has this double Skull Gul'dan. Can he pull it out from here? Whoa. Wow, that is big.
Yeah. That allows him to chew through the small annoying taunts.
Do you play the Battle Fiend with it? Or do you Skull Gul'dan here? I don't know. I feel like you can't actually let the Zoo Warlock... I don't think you can let it have a turn to attack you like this. I think you got to use this Warglaives.
But at the same time, if you use Warglaives now and Gallon just reloads with like Voidwalkers, how do you get through it?
I guess you would have to use Skull of Gul'dan and like hope that he doesn't buff it so you can get eye beams. And...
He's played his he's played 1 eye beam. Yeah, he's played 1 eye beam. Maybe Altruist, I don't know.
Don't get me wrong, this is a tricky spot.
It really is, yeah. And Gallon probably once again happy to see this.
Right. Like all these minions essentially just got to trade with face, and the thing is, Nalguidan didn't develop anything behind it, so technically, as much as Nalguidan has cleared the board, he hasn't won back enough tempo on his side yet. The momentum is just really kind of getting started, to be honest. Gallon could play like Scrap Imp plus a bunch of small stuff. Nalguidan has to respond. He can also just like go for the throat. Like he could have enough power here to represent lethal.
He could scrap. Yeah, I'm not sure. He could Scrap Imp and Expired Merchant and draw 3 again. Well, he doesn't have to Scrap Imp first. He can see what he draws and then go from there.
So play a taunt. I mean, he's also has Soulfire, so I think I want to set up a 2-turn lethal here.
No, that's true.
So Fiendish Servant makes sense to me since it's like 2 damage in a couple different ways. And then I guess a couple of 1-drops here.
Fiendish Servant, Argent Squire, Shield Bearer.
Shield Bearer is like more disruptive because it stops the attack, but I just like 1-drops here.
Yeah.
Nalguidan back to the wall. He needs to find a miracle series of draws. Altruist is part of that. Oh my goodness. Is that enough? No. You only can get 2 activations off Altruist.
Which does clear off a lot of it.
It does, but he's still dead.
And he can't get through. Actually, no, he can get through. He can leave a 4-3 on board. No, it wouldn't be a 4-3. It'd be a 6-3.
It actually depends on how the Phoenix Servant gives its death rattle, though. Because it could give it to the shadowy figure.
That's true.
Oof.
Because he has to attack into that Voidwalker.
Yeah.
Because he could attack and then attack again.
Yeah, it was actually arguable that he should attack before he did that.
Well, the problem was he couldn't attack into the second one. But I guess it would give... Yeah, that's it.
Close to stabilizing, but not enough. Zoo is going to crush 3-0 for Gallon. Much better play than he showed yesterday, where it was a little bit sloppy as we got to the conclusion of that series. But overall, well done. And now he starts his Grandmaster season 2-0.
And it came a year late, but he finally got...
He finally was able to back up.
Yeah.
He was able to back up the trash talk against Nalguidan. It took like 8 months for it to come to fruition, but hey, we finally got here.
This is when you whisper him after the fact and say, double or nothing.
That's right. GG.
Yeah.
GG colon close parentheses.
Yeah, that was a nice series from Gallon. Just think he played that quite well overall. I mean, we talked about at the beginning, it was weird calling Gallon a favorite, an overwhelming favorite. Like, all of his decks were better in the mirror matchup for what he was facing against Nalguidan. It was just some of the other decks didn't line up as well. But his decks are the ones that have been performing better overall in America so far this week. Like, Highlander Rogue seems to be performing better than normal Galakron. The normal Zoo seems to be performing better than Charge Zoo. And the faster Demon Hunter is performing better than the slower Demon Hunter. So, all those things considered, based on the results so far, it's not a surprise that Gallon won that series.
Yeah, so with that, we're going to get ready for our third series of the day, Frozen versus Muzzy. This is TJ's featured match. And for people who missed the beginning of the show, TJ, why is that?
Because Frozen's bringing a little bit of a different strategy. And actually, so is Muzzy. They're both on the banned Demon Hunter train, which the vast majority of players, I think it's only Muzzy, Frozen, and Language Hacker who are not banning Warrior, because they all have a different third deck. Muzzy has Highlander Hunter, Frozen has Highlander Mage, and Language Hacker has Spell Druid. So those are, kind of the reasons why, one, I was excited for Frozen, who's going against the metagame with the Highlander Mage being the only player in Americas, but also because Muzzy is bringing Highlander Hunter, which is not as popular of a choice this week in America. So it's two players that are fighting different styles than what we're seeing from the rest of the Americas.
All right. Well, that's going to be coming up next, as I believe we are taking a brief intermission. This is one of our longer breaks. So in the meantime, we have some cool media content to show you while we get ready for Muzzy versus Frozen. So stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Hi, everyone. I'm back again